And a very hello to you. This is the Wake Movement. We are going through some current events. It is a sad day as we are shooting this a day after the bombing of a hospital in Gaza, the Baptist hospital. It's been there for a long time. And the first report was that there was a terror cell in the hospital. And that's how they justified bombing it. And then when that didn't work, they backstepped and they said that Palestine bombed themselves. You could trace it through the media headlines. They're using very vague wording because they can't come out right and say that. So they said, looks like perhaps, maybe, possibly. Biden says it looks like Bibi tells me that it was from the other team. Is this a game? 500 to 1,000 Palestinians dead. The videos are so tough. Adam Green did a video, No More News, on Odyssey, Rumble, and showed videos that I was just listening. I couldn't even watch. And the terror in their voice is chilling. They're going to start saying that it's anti-Semitic, to not support Israel in this war, in this wiping out of the Palestinian people who have already been displaced in the first Nakba, which isn't recognized by Israel. Now this is, they're calling it, even Israel is saying this is second Nakba. Still millions of displaced Palestinians throughout other European countries. Turns out the Indians really hate the Arabs and take Israel's side, which is sad. ISIS is Hamas. Hamas is Nazis. Hamas is Edom, Amalek, who generation through generation, just for no reason, hate the people of Israel. And in places like Germany, France, England, Europe, they're putting people in jail for being in support of Palestine during this. They're saying that all of Palestine is Hamas, when there's evidence, history of Israel supporting Hamas, even helping in its formation and coming to power, because they don't want a stabilized democratic Palestine that has any seeming right to exist. And they don't want them to have a voice on the world stage, a presence, or because they don't want any legitimacy given to it. So here is mainstream media, Yahoo, saying if you don't support Israel and what they're doing, then we will pull financing to you because your morals and ethics aren't in line with ours. Epstein financer Lex Wexner is pulling his funding to a program that they ran in Harvard, like bringing Israeli students over for no cost, which is like very suspicious anyways. Through Epstein, Harvard took in a bunch of money. Epstein was always at Harvard, trying to use his sperm to get like thousands of women pregnant through intervitrals, like so weird, whack. And it has to do with a religious, Kabbalistic frame of mind, to spread your seed and to stop the spreading of the seed of the other. So they're saying that Ivy League schools are in trouble if you don't match up with our values. The values, and they present Wexner as this great leader in philanthropy And then they have to mention the Epstein thing, and they only do it later on, and they say how he he received some scrutiny over his friendship, business partnership, but they cut ties in 2019 after he, oh man, that's all they got for us. That's sad. Mark Levin says that if America doesn't come in, send our more money, $100 billion, and soldiers, which we already have, it's never going to be enough because they need the religious prophecy of the fall of Edom, which is the West, which is America, needs to fall for Israel to rise. And they're going to pit other nations against us, use them, and then pit them against each other, collapse them, because it has to happen to fulfill the prophecies. These self-fulfilling prophecies are using scripture as script. The Samson option is what they're threatening to do, which is launching a nuclear Armageddon war on the whole world if they feel threatened in their existence. So preemptively. Ben Shapiro is totally losing it. Jordan Peterson is going to be the one to bring peace to the situation. Who, after he came out of his benzoid detox, went to Israel. Well, first did a teleprompter reading video of a message to Christians and then to Muslims, scolding them for not being more humanitarian. Then goes to Israel, does a talk to a big group of people, cries, saying that the future of humanity is is in their hands. Does a sit-down dinner with Ben Shapiro, his new master, and Benjamin Netanyahu. I know he's going to be the person. There are some Jewish people who are speaking out against this. But, oh, man. I did a video on this already. We have TikToking IDF soldiers. We have them partying in the streets in Israel. We have Jonathan Greenblatt saying that to be anti-Zionism is to be genocide for genocide. War crimes with keeping Palestine without electricity and water. 3 days, shutting down any aid to them. When Putin did that with the piece of land they're fighting for in Ukraine, we called him a war crime committer. And then when Israel does it, not so much. We're calling all of Palestine Hamas, which isn't true. We're calling Hamas ISIS, which look at the interesting relationship between Israel and ISIS through its formation and continuation. Serves a very similar role as Palestine and Hamas. Serves a very similar role as Islam versus Christianity, Ishmael versus Edom, to wipe each other out so that Jacob wins. All right, my friends, I have to get to work. I do want to end this with, I happen to personally have some great people of Jewish ethnicity and even out of Israel as my friends who look at the Palestinians as less than human. They were brainwashed into that. Look at the dehumanization, using such words as ISIS and Nazis. It's a dehumanizing form. Satan. Netanyahu called them satanic to get the Christians on board to think that they're fighting a holy war. Without Christian evangelical Zionism, Israel would totally not have this power in support of America. I think some people are waking up to it, and they're going to have a hard time bringing Americans into go fighting, dying for them, unless there's a false flag attack, something like 9/11 that happened here. There's sleeper cells coming through the southern border, and they're going to attack America because of our support for Israel, and then that's going to bring us all into it. And then Gog Magog happens, and Armageddon, a nuclear freaking Samson option given to us to take out the Philistines, the Palestinians. They're using the Bible as a script, and they got the Christians doing their work for them, and the Masons. Freemasonry is about how the Goy, the Gentile, builds the temple for Solomon, the king of Judea, so that him and the Jewish people don't work and even pick up a brick and lay it. They have the bricklayers, the Masons, do their work for them joyfully, abandoning their own traditions often. But sometimes in Masonry, they do keep alive like some other traditions, like the Eleusinian mysteries, the Greek traditions, the Egyptians especially. But Israel, the Jewish people think that they have a claim to a certain period in Egyptian history, and that they will take over and rule from that land after they laid it to waste because of how Pharaoh treated them. All fictional stuff. The Exodus. No, we have archaeological, no evidence of it. Captivity in Egypt, none. The dying of every firstborn child, which is horrible. No evidence. We think you would have some record of that when we have plenty of records. People have to learn the Bible isn't historical. Rather, it is propaganda. It is dark. It's a grimoire. It's scripting. It's actually, if you want your life to go in a certain way, start writing your life story. And then start writing a story about how you want it to turn out. Scripting your own life. Taking authority, authorship of our own journey here. Wake movement. We're waking up the world, baby. While we can. We're waking people up to the woke agenda. And then the MAGA worship cults. We are de-occulting, unocculting the cults. They're using their Kabbalah magic with all their numbers, 13s, lots of 13s and 6s. Blinken goes over and says he's approaching this as not an American first, but from his Jewish identity. But to accuse anybody of dual loyalty who has dual citizenship is an anti-Semitic trope, and I don't want any of that. I know lots of Israelis who love America, who don't want to be in Israel, which is also a problem for Zionism. There's times where those who went to Israel, Palestine, the European Jews to try to colonize it, were didn't want to be there. They liked it. Had it much better in Germany, and there are other places where they have high places of esteem in the financial system, and they tried to leave on a ship, and the Israeli soldiers bombed the ships. Zionists. I hope this video don't get banned. I hope it don't get banned. India and their hate for Arabs is got them jumping on the side of Israel. Netanyahu and his part of creating Hamas and funding it, similar like ISIS, they play a useful opposition role, just as Christianity versus Islam, and then the light remains shining forth from the top of Mount Zion. With the Goyim, the nations, us, bow down in submission, we're wiped out. I think 2/3 of the world population needs to wipe out to fulfill. That's how this script ends, my friends, unless we do something about it. Netanyahu talking about Israel's control of the U.S. through lobbies, foreign lobbies that don't have to register as foreign and are super PACs. And, their control of the Senate and the Congress as well. But occasionally one gets in, like a Toshiba Qualib or Cortez, and they lose it. McDonald's sending free food to the soldiers in Israel while the water's cut off for 3 days to Palestine. So I won't be having an Egg McMuffin this morning, which is probably poison anyways. Want to see how people in Palestine and Israel are doing? Just go to Snapchat. Here's Israel. Looks lit. Now let's go down to the Gaza Strip, this small little piece of land where 2.3 million people are packed in at an open-air prison camp. They shut down the internet there because they don't want any media coming out. But this hotel bombing, which was totally done by Israel because Palestine doesn't have the military capability to have missiles that strike down a whole freaking hospital building. Even Israel said that their weaponry is likened to bottle rockets. And that big attack on Israel, I posit, and there was, I believe, some evidence saying that the Israel soldiers were told to stand down. Or it was just the biggest intelligence mishap in history. Similar to Shemaim 11, which they compare it to, which brought us into fighting Iraq for them, which was a total misinformation. Where we get that information from? You guessed it. To go and fight a war for them. They never even joined in that war. They want us to take out Iran, always. People doing some great work out there. Shout out Keith Woods. Lucas Gage, people who I don't agree with 100% on everything they say, but they're putting together good work. Yeah, a false flag coming to America near you. You're through the southern border. Those refugees are brought in. And it's just a great opportunity to flood immigrants into other countries that you want to take down. And especially people who are going to be a little bit hostile to America for supplying the missiles that just killed 500 to 1,000 Palestinians in a hospital. And at first the story was there was a terrorist cell organization there that we attacked. And then, whoa, wait a second. We can't use that anymore because we can't cover it up. So then we're going to change the story to they bombed themselves. Before, back in the Iraq war, they could lie to us a lot easier to lie about anthrax, to lie about the baby on the incubator, taking babies off of incubators or whatever. The 40 heads of children were never found. No evidence of that. But they went with it on mainstream media, so the common person is still parroting that. It doesn't matter that they backtrack on it or say it was misinformation. They're not going to say that part as loud as the initial blast of the trumpet. Netanyahu says sometimes you have to be bombed into war. Christians being totally in support of Israel, hands down, because of their prophecies. And here we have videos of Orthodox spitting on Christians in Jerusalem's old city, and it's actually a part of their tradition. But then you're also useful dupes because they like you to send money to them. You shouldn't worship just one Jewish rabbi. They want you to worship them all. There's them saying it. David Weissman. No one wants Palestinian women and children harmed. That's nice, but is that true? Anything that happens to them is on Hamas. Oh, so it's not Israel carpet bombing them? Why can't the left see this? Oh, now it's the left are the bad ones. Yeah. And it's not just an Israeli issue. The left and the right are in harmony about their undying support for our greatest ally. Hamas has called for a global day of rage. The global day of jihad never happened. I bet you they wish, because they could use that to bring America into a hands down cuckold into supporting Israel, which we already are, so they don't really need it that bad. It was always about anti-Semitism. It's going to be anti-Semitism to not send your children off to go fight in this war for them. All right, we're going to shut it down today, my friends. Keep the hope. Be a reason for hope. Be strong, be courageous.